All right. Hello, Beach family, and welcome to the newest episode of the Beach Coaches Show. We have one of the most decorated coaches at Long Beach State and in Long Beach State history on with us today. We've got Jenny Hilt-Costello from the women's tennis team, and we're just going to jump right into it. I'm going to have Coach tell us a little bit about herself and come all the way into what she's doing now. So, Coach, welcome to the show.
Hi, Camden. Thanks for having me on today. Wow. Okay, so we'll go back to the beginning. I guess I started my collegiate career at UCLA. My dad actually had gotten his MBA there, so it was always a school that was high on my list. I actually walked on at UCLA, earned my scholarship there, got myself nationally ranked in singles and doubles, and then when I graduated, I really just loved the team environment, the idea of continuing to work on a campus, and continuing on with college athletics. So at that point, I was emailing out to see where I could possibly find an assistant coaching job to get my foot in the door. And I got very lucky because down the street at Long Beach State, at the time, Jamie Jones, who was the head coach, was looking for an assistant at Long Beach State. And so I was lucky enough to start in. And 2 years after being the assistant with Jamie, she decided she wanted to be a full-time mom. And I was lucky enough at that point. Cindy asked me if I wanted to be the interim for a year. And obviously I jumped at it because if I could impress everybody with what I did in my interim season, handling the team and the finances and everything that's involved with it, obviously I was hoping that would then turn into a full-time position, which it did. And so here I am now. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think I'm about to finish my 23rd year as the head coach here. And thankfully, we've had a good run. It's been a lot of hard work, but we've had a lot of great student athletes come through our program. We've been lucky enough to win what I would say is 22 Big West titles. 13 of those are tournament titles, and 9 of those are regular season titles. And this year, I think we started out a little slow, but I definitely think we were picking up momentum. And when season got cut short, we were basically about halfway through, and I really think that we were starting to hit our groove at that particular time. Everybody seemed to start getting into the rhythm of the matches. They really started to play their best tennis, and I think again we were going to put a strong showing out in the desert.
Coach, where were you guys standing in the Big West standings early this year, or had you started conference play yet?
We were 3-1 at that point. We had just gotten back from a road trip to Hawaii, and unfortunately we lost a really tight 4-3 to them. We had some set points that could have maybe catapulted us ahead in a couple of the singles matches that we lost. But playing on the road at Hawaii is always an interesting situation with the rain delays and the wind. And I thought the girls handled it really well. So the fact that we came out of there 4-3 with chances to have won that match, I was actually feeling pretty good about where we stood with them if we saw them again in the desert. Where we were in the standing, it's hard to say because a lot of the other schools hadn't had a lot of league matches yet. When season was canceled, we were 3-1. So I definitely feel that we were a top 4 seed going into the Big West tournament. It's just hard to say because playing Santa Barbara on the road, which was ahead of us, is tough. Even Northridge and Cal Poly can be tough matches on the road. But having said that, I do feel good that we were headed towards our best tennis. So I was feeling like we could, take those matches and hopefully be a top 2 seed going into the desert.
Coach, you talk about going to the desert, and that's definitely a home away from home. You talk about playing some of these teams on the road and how tough it is to play Hawaii and Santa Barbara. But teams have to think that playing you guys at Indian Wells is also a pretty tough matchup. I was looking on your Twitter earlier today, and you guys posted a stat that was absolutely incredible. You guys are 12-4 in the desert. So you've won 12 championships out there. and you've only lost 4 times. Can you tell us what makes it so special for you guys to play there?
You know what? It is, honestly, it's one of the best facilities in the world. I think our girls understand that. We have a very international team. They know that there's an ATP and a WTA event there every year in March. It truly is I think it's one of the top 5 facilities in the world. So definitely our team embraces that. They love going out there. They go to the tournament in March where the pros are playing there. So to come back out, in April to play there as well, I think really is a high for our girls. They look forward to it. It's something that really the team comes together, and I feel like it's a culture where we get to the deserts, they embrace the fact that they're playing where pros play, and that we have such a history there. And we went on a couple-year hiatus, but last year I could really feel it. We played our best tennis last year to get back on top there, and I feel like this team has really embraced that again, and I feel that culture building again, that when we go to the deserts, this is our place, and this is our place to shine.
Coach, how does that help on your recruiting trips, getting to say that you're playing at Indian Wells, the Big West Championships there, and all the success that you guys have had there? Does that obviously play in, and then do you pull that out as your ace in the hole?
Well, there's a lot of things that I think we have as an ace in the hole, honestly. I think our location, where the university is at, our academics, just our general athletic department is a really great sell for our recruits. But when you can add on top of it that we play our conference tournament at the Indian Wells Tennis Garden, it absolutely is a pull. And you can see their eyes light up when you tell them that. Unlike some other conferences that alternate playing at different campuses or things like that, this is truly a special experience. And I feel we're very lucky, very fortunate to be at Indian Wells Tennis Garden. And I hope that the Big West is able to continue this relationship so that we can continue giving our kids this unbelievable championship experience in the desert.
Yeah, certainly a good opportunity to play where all the pros play just a month or so before that. So, Coach, as we're on the topic of recruiting, let's go into who you're bringing in. What kind of space do you have on the roster, and what are you bringing in, and who are they? New faces to the beach.
Sure. Well, we actually have 3 spots open. Natalia Munoz was our one senior this year, and she had already had a job lined up for post-graduation and decided to forego taking the extra year because she had the job, she was excited about the job, and I think she's ready for that next chapter in her life. So I think it's a good decision for her, and she'll be working for the ITA in something called Tennis for America. So she's going to actually be working on events and promotions to promote tennis within Southern California. So hopefully we'll still be seeing a lot of Natalia as she's promoting our great sport. And then we did kind of have a bit of a surprise, 2 more openings. 2 of our players, Victoria and Emma, have chosen to transfer and get a different experience at other schools. And so that left us with 2 other available positions. So we're happy to announce that we have signed all 3 of those positions with what I think are very talented players. In November, we signed Nikola Homokova. She is from the Czech Republic, a very strong, very talented, all-court player, and just impressive on every aspect on the court. She can do everything. She can play at the net. She's got touch for drop shots. She's got a big serve. So I think we'll see big things out of her. We signed a young lady from Normandy, France. Her name is Claire Ledoux, and she is also what I think is someone with a big game. She spent the last year really focusing a little bit more on her academics, but you can see from her match play, where we watched several videos of her, and some of her previous results, there's a strong player there, and I think she will maybe start 5 or 6 in the lineup, but I think she has the ability to move up rapidly, especially in a situation where you have coaches that are really working with her game. Because again, she plays doubles, she comes forward, she's not afraid of the net, and that's really what we're looking for in players that can kind of maneuver the entire court without any fear factor, because that means that they're going to be able to play singles and doubles successfully for us. So we're excited to welcome Claire. And then we just recently signed Irina Babkova, and she is from Russia, a small town just outside of Moscow. She is a tall lefty with a big serve and big ground strokes. And again, no fear factor coming forward. So I think you're going to see her intimidating a lot of players as she hits her big shots from the baseline and comes forward to the net. So a really strong freshman recruiting class that I think you're going to see a lot of great things from.
Well, they've got some big shoes to fill, that's for sure, with you guys winning all those championships and keep that going. So, Coach, you've got 3 European players coming in. How do you guys find these girls? How are you out there? Do you get to watch them play beforehand? Are you doing a lot of it on video? Are you doing Zoom meetings like this? How do you get a real feel for who these girls are and how they're going to fit into your squad?
Well, it's a great question. If there's a lot of computer work done with this, you can actually check their ratings. There's a website called Universal Tennis Ratings where you can kind of see where they've rated them. They also have their national home rankings, the ITF, the ITF is like it's kind of a junior world circuit that they have. They also have rankings there, so you can check the results on that website. And then it really is also conversations with them. We have them forward us a lot of videos, practice videos, and then any tournaments that they're playing. If they can record a set for us, then we'll watch the set that they send to us either, via a link on YouTube, or sometimes they send it in Google Drive. So we are watching them play. It's just not real time, that we're watching them. They'll play a tournament match or a practice match, and then we'll get the video sent to us later. So with many of the recruits, we'll get to see them play 3, maybe 4 times. And they're actually starting now to have more of these tournaments with live streaming, where you can actually click in on a court where a player is playing their match and watch it, but it's not quite as common yet. But I think in the future, we're going to see that more and more often, where we're going to be able to tune into these tournaments as they're going on, even across the great ocean. We'll be able to watch. I'll be watching it here at 10 o'clock at night while they're playing at 9 a.m. in the morning. But a lot of it is right now, it's computer and it's talking on WhatsApp, getting to know them that way, which has been working well for us.
Sure. Coach, what are you looking for? So tennis is you guys play a team sport, and that everybody is on the team and you're scoring points. But when you're out there in a singles match, you're out there all by yourself. So what are you looking for in a player that you can find to make sure that they're going to be the type of player that has the mental toughness to pull out an entire match?
Sure, it is. This is a very physically and mentally demanding sport. I say this all the time, that we have to be so well conditioned, because by the time we warm up, play a doubles match, followed by a singles match, our girls are out on the court anywhere from 4 hours to 5.5 hours every dual match. So it takes a lot of physical conditioning and mental conditioning. So really looking for players that have, they're reaching the end of their junior career, but don't look at college as kind of the ending point where, okay, good, I've got my scholarship, I'm set, here we go, I'm just going to ride it out and get my degree. Looking for players who look at this as the next chapter in their tennis degree, in their tennis career. I mean, what can I accomplish in college? I still want to see my game improve. Maybe I can try some tournaments, pro tournaments when I'm done. So really, players that are still very enthusiastic about their tennis. They want to see their game grow, and they're ready to put in that work. Players that are coachable, that come in eager to listen. We've got a staff here that has a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and that is one thing that we really love doing, is that one-on-one time with our players where we can talk about their game, really discuss what aspects we need to continue to build, maybe what needs a little bit of improvement. So players that are really open to that coaching that's going to elevate their game. Good students. We want players that are serious about their academics, And then also team players. We want girls that are coming in and will embrace the team environment. Tennis is, like you said, a very individual sport as you play in the juniors, but we really do make it a team atmosphere here in college. And while you're fighting on your court for your match, what you do, your mannerisms, your attitude, your efforts can really affect your teammates that are playing on the courts next to you. So when you look over and you're struggling maybe in your match and it's not going right now the way you want it to, but you see your teammate over there going, come on, you got this. Come on, you'll get there. And you see them fighting through, it can really elevate and lift you up to a better place in your match. So players that are going to go out there, support their teammates, fight to the end, willing to change up the game plan, that's what we're looking for.
Coach, how do you mesh together? So you've got players from all over the world that are coming to play for you. How do you mesh all of those different players and all those different cultures into creating these great teams that you've created over the years that have won so many times?
Well, interesting. They have a lot of things in common when they come in. They're all from thousands of miles away. I know Natalia was not. She was from Santa Clarita, but still for them, that's far away from, the rest of the team. So they're all coming from home. A lot of them, long way from their home and their family. They all have tennis, a love for tennis, which they have in common. And so you try to focus on the things that they have in common and bring the team together that way. And honestly, most of the girls that we've brought in are so eager for that team experience and that atmosphere, because tennis as a junior, when you're playing in high school, is really, for lack of a better word, cutthroat. You're out there on your own. Parents can be a little crazy, that are standing on the fence with their kids, So coming into this team environment, they're really eager to mesh and bond with their teammates. And in fact, a number of our recruits that are coming in this fall, that was a big question for them. Does this feel like a family? I'm going to be far from home. I want to be a part of a family. And what's great is that I can tell them, yes, absolutely. Our girls really gel well together. And I think a lot of it too is the way that Ashley and I and Carolina communicate with the girls. Really, you're competing for lineup spots, but for us, you earn your position in the lineup. We don't have challenge matches where we determine lineup. It really is, what is the work you're doing every day in practice? What have you done in the fall tournaments? Where was your attitude? Where was your effort? And that's really what goes into determining the lineup. Not here's the ball, go out and play a match, and whoever comes out with, gets the number 4 position. So I think the fact that it's really a very encompassing thing that we look at, everything they do every day contributes to us making lineup. They know that they're not competing against each other. It's what they do every day themselves at practice that will determine whether they get that lineup spot.
Coach, one thing that, switching gears a little here, one thing I find so interesting is that when you guys are coaching in the middle of a match, there are 6 matches going on at once. So you got 1 through 6 singles going on all at the same time. How do you and your assistant coaches, how do you decide where to be and when to be? I mean, do you just know the girls so well that you know which buttons to push? I mean, there's so many things going on at once.
That's a great question. And, a lot of it is divide and conquer. You know what I mean? So we definitely have a set courts that we're going to be watching. And when we're lucky enough to have Carolina there with us, our volunteer coach, then we each get 2 singles courts and we're kind of managing. And yeah, it really does boil down to, as the season rolls on and even as, players become sophomores, juniors, and seniors, you get to know their tendencies, you get to know their habits on the court, and kind of what works with them, what doesn't work with them, and you can and then once you get into maybe halfway through the first set, there is a flow to each set. So you can kind of give them their game plan, and you can keep an eye out as you're with another court, watching to see if you see that game plan coming together, if you need to go back and revisit with them and kind of refresh it. Maybe now we need to change it. So there is a flow to it, and I think first-year coaches, a lot of times it feels overwhelming. But once you kind of get into the flow and the rhythm of it, and as you get to know your players better, it becomes a lot easier to manage and work the courts.
Experience always helps, that's for sure. So, Coach, as a fundraiser, I would be remiss to not talk about scholarships a little bit. So, folks are typically fairly confused about different sports and the scholarship numbers and how all that works. How does it work for your team, and how many do you have, and how do you make sure that you're filling all those spots?
Well, the NCAA allows tennis 8 scholarships, and basically we are what we call a head count sport, not an equivalency sport. So basically with head count sports, the general gist is that you're giving full scholarships. Kind of like, our head count sports, I believe, on campus are tennis, basketballs, and women's volleyball, I think, are our head count sports. I think everybody else is equivalency.
Yep.
And really the trend in those sports, when you are only allowed a certain number of players that can have a scholarship, those tend to be full scholarship sports if you're going to compete. If you're going to get the good kids, if you're going to get the quality kids, you have to be offering a full. But the way a head count works with the NCAA is if I offered a girl only books, she would count as one of our 8 on scholarship. So no matter what the level of giving, you can only have 8 players receiving 8. And so that's where it's head count sports. It makes it really kind of tricky, because if you're not offering the full amount, then you're going to lose that kid. If you're not offering the full amount and cost of attendance, you're going to lose that kid. So there are times when I know equivalency coaches, I've talked to them and they said it's a poker game, because you can spread the money out any way you want, which is difficult because you don't know what another coach is offering, and you got to match or beat them. But with us, it's pretty straightforward. But the unfortunate part is, if you're not, if you're competing against maybe an Ohio State or, one of the Power 5 conferences, and money is the only concern for this recruit, it's going to be a tough battle to win.
Sure. All right, Coach, I'm going to let you wrap up here with just anything that you would like to say to the fans, and we'll let you go.
All right. Well, obviously we miss seeing everybody. We're gonna be back on the court, the pool, the field, the track here soon. And so please stay connected with us. Athletics is doing a great job putting out information about our student athletes and just fun videos and information. And so stay tuned to us, stay on social media, because we will be back. We'll be back hopefully sooner than later. And we want to see all your faces when we get out of isolation. So please stay tuned on social media, and hopefully we'll see y'all soon.
All right, that was Coach Jenny Hilt-Costello from the women's tennis team. We are excited that she gets to hold on to that championship one more year. She's defending for an extra season. That's always a good time. And be sure to check us out on May 5th. We're starting our renewal so that we can make sure Coach is getting all of her scholarships and sending those on to student athletes. But we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time on the Beach Coaches Show. Have a good day and go Beach.